WhiskyJason here, whiskey from the viewpoint of an American over here in Germany tasting rare and exotic whiskeys. Now, many of you have seen this tin. This is Signatory Vintage, Cask Strength Edition. Many of you have seen the bottle inside this tin. We sometimes call it the flower vase over here in Germany because it's one of the most beautiful bottles out there from Signatory Vintage. Every label is hand labeled because a machine cannot do this. But I don't know if anyone has ever showed you this Speyside. And do you see this little M in the brackets? It's a well-kept secret. That means Macallan. Ooh. All right, so let's go back to the beginning a little bit here. We have a cask number, DRU17, A106. And if we type that into Whiskybase, let me just add a little bit to my glass so it has a little bit of time to open up, as they say in the industry. So if we put those numbers and letters into Whiskybase, we're going to get a total of 16 different bottlings so far, all of them from Signatory Vintage, all of them either a unnamed Speyside or a secret Speyside. So there was, for example, the secret Speyside bottled here in 2023 that was number 1. And this year it was number 2. And we had number 3. And guess what? We have no number 4. At least I can't find it, but we have number 12. And we have 27 and 18 and 29 and 30 and 32 and 49 and 50 and 82. And 61 and 62 together as an unnamed Speyside, unchilled filtered, 46%. Oh, what a shame. All right, and all these still have the same cask number, DRU1/A106. And then the router sign, and then even some type of number. So for some, and all of these, all were distilled in 2005. So let's just pick one of these, if I may. So this, okay, it doesn't even say it just says 2005 on that one. This one is the 11th of July. This is also the 11th of July. All right, so let's go to the 80s here and take a look here. It says here the 11th. So most of these were distilled on the 11th of July, 2005. Almost all of these. So Signatory Vintage somehow got their hands on, this is my opinion, a batch of Macallan casks. They did not have the rights to call them Macallan, but someone had the genius, and I'm going to say the word genius here again, idea of just putting a tiny little M in brackets behind there. All right, and so this, I did a bottle share of this for 164 euros. The average price in Germany for this single cask, and there was 692 bottles, we'll come to that in a second, was 199, and at the moment they're all sold out because, oh, it's Macallan, and everyone's hunting and trying to get their hands on one of these bottles from one of these casks because it's Macallan. Yeah, as if that Macallan has the greatest juice in the world. Not in my opinion, but that's just me. All right, so now the thing that really bothers me is the cask number, the amount of bottles here. 692 multiplied by 0.7 is 484.4 liters of liquid that was filled up in the bottles. This is a 17-year-old product that did not spend 17 years in a sherry butt and only lost 16 liters. So sherry butts are usually around 500. Now they might be 510, they might be 495, but they're fairly 500, all right? So this is not fully mature. This is a finish. It may have been a finish for a long time. It may have been a finish for 2 weeks. Who knows? We don't have to say that. The laws of Scottish whiskey is as long as it's been, I think there is a new law here. I have to ask my friend who works in the industry. As long as it's been for a certain amount of time now in Scotland, in that one cask, it is therefore considered a single cask. Even though I took maybe spirit from 5 different barrels beforehand, poured it all in that one finishing cask, I can still call it than the first fill Oloroso Sherry Butt. All right, so what am I going to compare it to? Just push this over here a tiny, tiny little bit. This at the moment is one of my favorite whiskeys on the market, at least in the summer of 2023. Didn't do a very good job. It's Strathile, 17 years of age. This is a Gordon MacPhail Connoisseur's Choice single cask bottling exclusively for Kirsch import. And this was a refill sherry hogshead. 2005, 2005. 17 years old, 17 years old. Here we have 56.3. Here we have 58.1. This is 146 euros. Here is 164 euros. So, and usually almost everyone else went for 199 for this. If you look at the color, the very first thing even if you look at the bottles, all right? So you can see a difference in color here, I think, all right? So I'm showing you, this is dark, this is Coca-Cola, this is what whiskey should be like. If you look at the glasses here, you'll see even a more evident difference in colors here. That does hint towards a syrup sherry cask. What do I mean by syrup sherry? All right, we can take sherry and concentrate it a little bit, especially Oloroso sherry, which just means an oxidative sherry from it's a white wine matured in casks of oak in Spain for a couple of months. And we can somehow concentrate that a little bit more, put it into a cask, sell that seasoned cask, especially a first fill Oloroso Sherry Butt, over to Scotland. They put it in there, and ta-da! Now, this was a refill hogshead, so it had been used once. It's been used a second time. Hogsheads are definitely all then their seasoned cask, but that's just fine. And I have the feeling that this is old school sherry, which I very much like at the moment, and this is somewhat new school sherry. I am not really sure, and this is my problem at the moment, how much I can differentiate the distillate of different distilleries when there's so much sherry influence. Now, if both of these were bourbon, I would go, oh, that's interesting. But both of these are sherry influenced casks, and they dominate the flavor profile here. And so it doesn't matter if it's Strathile, it doesn't matter if it's Macallan, it doesn't matter if it's Timbuktu's distillery. That, as long as the distillate at the beginning was okay or good, it's going to develop in a very similar direction with those casks, or if the casks are different in different directions. On the nose, I do like this nose. There is a tiny little bit at the end, this artificial sweetener moment. It's got a lot of leather, it's got chocolate, it's got a little bit of a wood oak moment, almost like a European oak, tiny bit. Dark chocolate, hot, a little bit of, I said chocolate already. It's very woody, oaky, leathery, chocolatey, almost coffee beans roasted moments. For some of you, it's like, oh, my mouth is watering. Already for me, roasted coffee beans, not my thing. Over here, this is so traditional Oloroso, like I know it from a bottle of, let's just say, Lustau Oloroso. Every once in a while, I buy some sherry, either samples or entire bottles, and share with others. And I'll do the different types of sherry. I'll be the finos and the amotillados and the palucotados and the olorosos and the Pedro Jimenez and the moscatel. And I forgot one that I always forget, that little thing that is basically fino, just in that one village there. And I'll just make sure I remember what sherry should be like. And this is so evident that it's just the typical, real, original Oloroso. And not this sherry syrup, artificial new flavor. So let's try them. Cheers. Mm-hmm. The same thing that was on the nose is the same thing I get on the palate. They're very, very, very overlapping, which is good. First of all, the 58.1%, nice. 17 years of age. I'm not sure if I could actually identify it being 17, 18, or whatever years of age. I have the feeling that this, Buna 12, cask strength by Whiskey of the Year 2023 probably, has just as much vintage age in that taste profile as this does. I don't get a real old moment here. I get a lot of sherry finish slapping, but I don't get a lot of Macallan old goodness. We actually did over here in Germany. We have the company called Whisky.com, and Germany's Whisky.de for Deutschland, Germany. And Benedict Ben, he actually is now with his company, Horst Lüning, you know him as well. They're celebrating 30 years now. They've been in business online selling whiskey now for 30 years. So they have something they called back to the prices of 30 years ago. And they actually found out, for example, oh yeah, it's actually, where is the bottle? Yeah, in Germany, all right? This, the Bushmills 10, yes, it's the old packaging. The new one is out there. This actually cost, what, €4 today, less than it did 30 years ago. So Bushmills have reduced the prices compared to what it was 30 years ago, at least in their online shop. There were like 3 products they could name that are today less than what they were 30 years ago, and Bushmills was one of them. All right. Now, the product that actually has increased the most, oh, and also Ben said, maybe he'll do this in English, but he did it in German at least. One of the biggest problems he had, there are very, very few products that they had 30 years ago that are still available today. But one product they had back then that is still available today is the Macallan 18. And the Macallan 18 has increased by over 600% in 30 years in price. So if you would have paid, I'm just going to say if you would have paid €80 back then for the 18-year-old, so times 8 would be now today you're paying for that same one. No, it's times 6, I'm sorry. 600%, 6 times €80 would be €480. I don't even know the prices at the moment of Macallan 18. Let's take a look. Macallan 18. What do I pay for that in Germany? What would I pay for that? I haven't bought a Macallan 18 for 5 years. So at the moment, the Macallan 18 is going to run us around, yeah, okay, somewhere between 350, 320 and €500, depends on where you go. So 320. Wow. This is the cheapest I can get at the moment over here. So, yeah, this, my price comparison site says, is the price too expensive? And then it's like, yes. All right, so the price has fluctuated between here. 320 was the cheapest, and now we're back up to 320 as well. So, oh, look, it actually had gone down to 280. Ooh, for the Macallan 18 00 cask. All right, and so this is not, in my opinion, not perfect. Now, if you do take a look, and I highly recommend, go to Whiskybase, type in the number 230466, and you will see that there's been 58 people that have voted for this whiskey already, and this has an average vote of from 0 to 100 of 90.75. 90.75 is an extremely high mark given for this whiskey, which means I'm not mainstream. And if I take a look at some of their notes here, they're going to write down something like tobacco, even licorice, red fruits, spice, oak, burnt sugars, raisin. They're going to put down here the words here, for example, coffee. They're going to put down maple syrup, cinnamon plums. So they're going to write, they wrote down here, dried fruits, honey, tobacco, raisins, cocoa, nutmeg, pepper, and so on and so on. So milk chocolate, orange peel, and so on and so on. I mean, most people are giving this actually a grade above 90. I'm going to give it a C plus. Now, what I am going to do is I'm going to give it a solid C for value for money. Why? Well, remember my little rule of thumb. If it's independently bottled, if it's a single cask and it's in cask strength, 10 euros per year is what to expect today. I was able to share this bottle at a price of 164 euros. Now, this is 146 euros, which I think is much better, but it's an okay price. If you're looking for Macallan in cask strength and it's 17 years of age, are you going to find anything cheaper? Nowhere. So for value for money, if you're looking for that, yes. But if you're looking for the best value for money and taste, this is where I would go. Why? Let me cleanse my palate. 17-year-old, connoisseur's choice, Strath-Isle, single cask. This is Whiskybase number. I just love this nose. 232775. Cheers. Mm. Mm. This is the old school sherry goodness that I love, enjoy, and recommend. That newer artificial sweetener, And so, am I happy that I tried this once? Yes. Am I going to go hunting for more bottles of this elusive Cask series, is what I'm going to call it, from Secret Speyside 2005 with the DRU17 A106? No. I've had it, done it, not mine. Other people can have it instead. And the prices are really going up on these Secret M's. And whoever had this idea with the bracket and the M, well done, well done. So my question of the day is, what is your favorite Macallan? And my second question of the day is, what is your favorite 17-year-old cask strength sherry, finished, matured, single malt whiskey from Scotland? Very, very exact, I know. But hey, that's what these both are. 17 years old, both single casks, both independently bottled, and both at a almost similar price point. All right, thank you. See you soon. Don't forget to share, tell others, and comment and like. Bye-bye.